Gospel according to St. Mark, the 8th chapter.
Glory to you, Lord.
Then Jesus began to teach the disciples that the Son of Man must undergo great suffering, and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. He said all this quite openly. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But turning and looking at his disciples, Jesus rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things." He called the crowd with his disciples and said to them, "If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. For what will it profit them to gain the whole world and forfeit their life? Indeed, what can they give in return for their life? Those who are ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of them the Son of Man will also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels." The Gospel of the Lord. For several years running, there was an ad that appeared on one of the apps that I use a lot. And it said something like, "Obama urges everyone to take advantage of this quick, easy, and limited time offer to completely eliminate your mortgage." And I looked at that ad like, yeah, right. But it kept showing up year after year until about 2 weeks after the 2016 presidential election. And then the ad said, "Trump urges everyone to take advantage of this quick, easy, and limited time offer to eliminate your mortgage." And I thought, really? You think I'm going to click on this just because you changed the name of the president? Over and over again I see this ad, and I'm like, this is clickbait. This is not a real offer. It's like those offers that you see all the time that say, you can lose lots of weight quickly and easily, and it will not involve any diet or exercise. Just, a couple of weeks, and all the weight will just melt off your body. And I thought, really? Why would people keep putting those? Who clicks on this stuff? But clearly somebody did, and some people have been clicking on that stuff, because if they weren't, the people that sponsored the ads wouldn't keep paying for them. Even though I know that offers like this can't actually be true, and probably most people do, there's a natural human inclination to want to say, maybe this time, even though I know it can't be true, I ought to at least pause and think about it. Because quick, easy, and painless are great marketing techniques. You will at least stop and look and wonder if maybe this time, maybe just this once, quick, easy, and painless would work. And so it is not surprising that in today's gospel reading, when Jesus tells his disciples that the journey they're on with him is going to involve suffering, rejection, and death, Peter takes him aside and, tries to straighten him out. Mark doesn't tell us what Peter said to Jesus, but it's probable that that Peter knew what all the rest of us know. Quick, easy, painless, that sells. Suffering, rejection, death, that does not sell. That is not a good human marketing technique. It is not good clickbait. It just won't work. So, we don't know what Peter exactly said, but we do know what Jesus said back to Peter. Jesus rebuked Peter publicly in front of the disciples and told him that divine things effectively do not work like clickbait. And while Jesus' words to Peter are kind of harsh, because after all, he calls him the devil, Jesus is not saying that Peter doesn't have a point. Suffering, rejection, and death will never be good clickbait. It isn't as though Jesus says, I've got a way to make this work as clickbait. It's going to be really great. Peter's right. That's not the way things work if you really want to market something. We don't ever send you any kind of information about stewardship and working with the church and say, this will be great for you. It'll cause you suffering, rejection, and death. It just doesn't work that way in human terms. Jesus is not saying to Peter that suffering, rejection, and death are really actually kind of fun and cool. You just don't know how to do them right. To the very end, Jesus is not real thrilled with the idea of suffering, rejection, and death either. Even in the Garden of Gethsemane, he says things like, if this cup can pass from me, that would be okay, but not my will, but yours be done. It's not that these are fun things. And Jesus is absolutely not telling his disciples that everything that is hard or painful is good, or even part of God's plan. Sometimes hard and painful. It's just hard and painful. So what Jesus really is saying to his disciples is that the hard and painful way is the way that he's chosen. And he's chosen the hard and painful way because it is the way that God can demonstrate the extent of his commitment and love. In a world in which everybody looks for the quick and easy way, God chooses the other way. God chooses the hard and difficult way to show how much we're worth to him. Because every single quick and easy clickbait you see is not something that's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit the marketer. It's going to benefit the person getting something out of it. It's not really going to be focused about you, but God chooses the hard and difficult way to show that God is focused on us and not on himself. Jesus says that he has chosen the hard and the difficult way because it's God's way of showing that he's committed to being part of the real world that we live in. The real world where quick and easy doesn't hardly ever work. Everything that we need to do that really matters almost always involves pain and difficulty, and it takes a long time. Jesus' hard and difficult way is a way of saying that God is going to walk with us and be our companion through that real and difficult process of our real lives, not simply trying to give us the placebo of a quick and easy clickbait. And most of all, Jesus says that he's picking the hard and the difficult way because it's the only way that God can demonstrate through the resurrection that the promise of new and restored life really is real, no matter how much suffering, how much rejection, or how much death actually gets in the way. Because it's easy to talk about life and hope and how beautiful God is going to make your life when life is kind of okay for you right now. Oh, God will just keep making your life better and better. It'll get more and more beautiful. And you can talk about that kind of stuff all you want. But when things get really bad, that's the hard time. And Jesus cannot actually show that God's life, that the life that God promises us actually will triumph unless he says, watch me. Watch me suffer. Watch me be rejected. Watch me die. And see that not even that actually ends up triumphing over life. It can only be done through the hard and difficult way. And it's often hard to really hear and appreciate God's promise of life when things are difficult and things are painful. I think that's why Peter completely missed the last part of the sentence. The sentence that Jesus says, Son of Man's going to go up, rejected, suffer, be killed. Oh yeah, and on the third day, rise again. Peter missed the last clause. Because as soon as Jesus started to talk about suffering, rejection, and death, he got so distracted, he couldn't pay attention to any of the rest of the sentence. He couldn't pay attention to the part about rise again on the third day. In fact, I don't think any of the disciples were actually able to hear that and really focus on it, because Jesus said these exact same words 2 more times in Mark's Gospel before they get to Jerusalem. And I don't think even then they really heard it. In fact, they probably didn't really hear or appreciate what Jesus was saying until after he rose from the dead. It was only then that they remembered the rise again on the third day part. It was then that they appreciated the meaning of the suffering, the rejection, and the death. It was then that they really began to understand God's love for them was about taking a hard and difficult way. It was not about quick and easy quickly. And honestly, that realization did not make their lives any easier. And it doesn't make our lives any easier either. But for those first disciples, and for us, the realization that God's love is more than clickbait can give us the stamina that we need, even though we have to face suffering again and again in our lives. The realization that God's love is more than clickbait can give us perspective when life itself seems to reject us. And the realization that God's love is more than simple clickbait can give us real hope and real perseverance, even in the midst and in the times when death itself rears its ugly.